the Cinema ATL podcast. The Cinema ATL podcast is a weekly podcast that examines the world of entertainment through the lens of local Atlanta filmmakers. That would be us, your hosts. I'm Michael D. Friedman, and that is
Martin Kelly.
And this week we are recapping our big Movie Madness tournament, which was on Instagram, and we just recently crowned a champion for the best sports movie of all time. We're going to recap the whole tourney, talk about some surprising results, and discuss some of our favorite matchups. But before we get to that, Martin, why don't you tell our listeners how they can help the podcast out?
Well, you could put money in a bag and send it to Mike or myself, or you could comment, rate, and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. And that's pretty much everywhere. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and also on Google Podcasts and YouTube. So check us out anywhere you get your podcast, and we'd appreciate it.
Yes, and we also want to hear from you. You can always tweet us at CinemaATL or at my personal Twitter account at Badger33.
Or hit me up at Marte_real1.
And of course, you can always follow us on Instagram. It's at CinemaATL Podcast, all one word. And if you don't follow us, you missed out on your chance to participate in this very Movie Madness vote. So get following on IG, and maybe we'll do one of these again in the future.
Yeah, or other fun interactive stuff. So definitely subscribe, because it's a lot of fun stuff that we do there. So also, you can always catch up to us at the legacy website, cinemaatl.com.
Well, all right. Well, we got a lot to recap, so let's just get into it. Okay, so Movie Madness. This is a tournament that we ran on Instagram. We seeded 64 sports movies into the brackets. We determined this based off of popularity on IMDb and looking at ranking lists throughout the internet. We scoured the globe to find 64 sports movies that we felt were the best, and we seeded them from 1 to 64 and then put them in a bracket just like you would see in March Madness in the NCAA basketball tournament. And then we had votes on Instagram. We had one every other day, and we ran it for about a month, and we finally crowned a champion. So we're just going to go through it and talk about the matchups and what we thought about it.
Yeah, first let's talk a little bit about the regions. Let's we kind of had fun with creating regions, and there were 4 distinct regions, and they were named in honor of 4 tremendous filmmakers. So let's go through those first, I guess. Let's talk about just the regions first before we even talk about the movies.
Right.
So we had the Hitchcock region, we had the Kubrick region, then we also had the Scorsese region, and also the Spielberg region.
Yeah, these were just the names of the regions instead of, how in the basketball tournament they have, North, East, West, Midwest, or whatever they have. So we wanted to get clever with it. These movies, the movies that are in the regions they're not representative of the directors that we picked as the names, although Raging Bull was in the Scorsese region. So
right.
If you have them as a number 1 seed, you probably want to put them in the Scorsese region. So for this recap, we're going to go through the first 2 rounds pretty quickly. Maybe talk about some of the upsets that we saw, but I'm just going to read through them. In the Scorsese region, we had Raging Bull versus Glory Road, 1 versus 16. Raging Bull won that pretty easily. We had Breaking Away at number 8, The Fighter at number 9. The Fighter pulled a slight upset there. Number 5 was Love and Basketball versus number 12, Rush. Love and Basketball easily advanced. We had Bull Durham at number 4, White Man Can't Jump at number 13. This was a closer one, but Bull Durham advanced.
Right. Well, what's kind of unfair about that one, I want to point out, you put 2 Ron Shelton movies head to head. So Ron Shelton just didn't have a chance.
He had an instant victory, but he also had an instant loss. But then at the bottom of the region, we had the Caddyshack at number 3 over Any Given Sunday. I, Tonya at number 6 beat Coach Carter at number 11. Foxcatcher was number 7, and it lost to Space Jam, which was number 10. A little bit of an upset there. I know people have a fond memories of Space Jam. I personally think it's an awful movie, but there you go. And then closing out the first round, we had League of Their Own at number 2 versus Bang the Drum Slowly and League of Their Own advanced. Bang the Drum Slowly, I think, is a film that not a lot of people know about, but it's one of De Niro's first roles, and it's a really good movie.
Right,
But
right. It's one of the old. It's actually one of the older ones in the tournament too, which
right,
is probably why a lot of people aren't familiar with it.
right. I think there's a lot of nostalgia that goes with this, movies that you grew up with, things like that. Getting into the second round of this, before we move on to the other regions, we had Raging Bull. Then in the second round was up against The Fighter. Raging Bull won that. It was a little closer than I would have thought. Bull Durham defeated Love and Basketball. Caddyshack beat I, Tonya. I was hoping I, Tonya is one of my favorite sports movies recently, and I was hoping it would go further. But Caddyshack is a good movie, so I understand
Right.
why it would lose.
And a lot of nostalgia. You talk about nostalgia, a
Right.
lot of nostalgia for Caddyshack.
And then Space Jam Cinderella Run came to a close in the second round
Thank
against
goodness.
League of Their Own. Yeah,
That would have been a horrible upset, in my
right.
opinion. But
I agree. Um, so then we move on to the Spielberg region. We had the number 1 seed there was Rocky, and it defeated The Rookie in its first round matchup. That was pretty obvious it was going to happen. Chariots of Fire defeated 42. I thought that was kind of a surprise to me. I thought 42 being a little bit more recent movie, like you said, the older movies maybe not faring as well, but Chariots of Fire
right.
actually made it through.
Yeah. That was a little surprising to me too, because
Right,
I don't know how many people even remember Chariots of Fire.
right. Then number 5 seed was Bad News Bears, the 76 version, the original. It beat The Way Back, which was recently released this year. I don't know if a lot of people saw that, but
Right.
it's
Exactly,
supposed
because
to
it
be a
was
pretty
one of
good
the
movie.
movies
Yeah,
kind of affected by the pandemic a lot.
right. Happy Gilmore defeated The Express in the 4-13 matchup. Remember the Titans beat Warrior, number 14. Warrior's a underrated movie, if you ask me. I think it was
Absolutely.
really good.
I think Warriors is a really good movie, but I mean, that was a tough match against Remember the Titans.
Yeah, and then here's another older matchup. Pride of the Yankees was the number 6 seed. It was upset by the Replacements at number 11, and I think there's a lot of recency bias in this one. But I mean, I enjoyed
Sure.
the Replacements. The Replacements is a fun movie. I can see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then talking about nostalgia, The Karate Kid at number 10 upset The Natural at number 7, and The Karate Kid went on to do some damage in the tournament. So
Well, you know what?
um,
What's so funny about this is that, Karate Kid is certainly one of my favorites, and I did end up voting for Karate Kid in certain areas, but I actually voted for The Natural in the first round because The Natural, to me, is even more of a classic sports movie. And so to me, this was a little bit of a surprise because even
right.
as much as I love Karate Kid, I actually voted for The Natural in the first round.
Yeah, and then like we talk about like nostalgia, and the people that are our age that grew up with the Karate Kid, they probably were more likely to have seen the Karate Kid than the Natural at that
Right,
age, right? So
right.
you get
Absolutely.
that going. And then the number 215 seed matchup was Miracle defeating Bend It Like Beckham.
And
Um,
this is one I wondered about this seating because Bennett like Beckham is such a well thought of movie. I wondered why it was so in our seating, and
right.
again, it was completely based on our research, but I was surprised to see it seated this low. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's a good movie, and it was a tough. It was a tough draw for them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So moving on to the second round, Rocky ended up defeating Chariots of Fire pretty easily. Happy Gilmore beat Bad News Bears, and Remember the Titans beat Replacements, and then Karate Kid upset Miracle, which was a devastating blow to me because Miracle is one of my favorite movies.
No, I know. I get it. I understand. This was a tough one for me. I did vote Karate Kid in this particular episode, and it became a nostalgia thing for me at this point.
Right. Well, me as a hockey fan, I wanted
Absolutely.
Miracle to go far, but I also think it's just a really good movie anyway. And
It is, and you're no doubt it is.
I think the popularity of Cobra Kai has also helped Karate Kid come back into the zeitgeist, if you will.
Sure.
So that probably could have helped in that round. All right. So the Hitchcock region, we had the number 1 seed was Hoop Dreams in the Hitchcock region, and it beat Million Dollar Arm, which is a pretty underrated movie, if you ask me. But Hoop
Hmm.
Dreams is definitely my pick there. Tin Cup defeated We Are Marshall. That was a close one, especially since We Are Marshall was filmed in Atlanta, and we had a lot of
Yeah,
Atlanta voters.
definitely.
Talladega Nights upended Kingpin at the 5-12 matchup. Talladega Nights was number 5. And then the 4-13 matchup was Moneyball versus Murderball.
Yeah, that's a good matchup. That's a good
That
matchup.
just randomly happened. But Murderball, if you haven't seen Murderball, it's a really good documentary about
Absolutely. Yes.
sport played by paraplegics, wheelchair sport that's really violent, and that's where it gets its name. And it's a really good movie. You should check it out. I knew that it wasn't going to advance because I don't think a lot of people saw it, but it
Yeah, I
definitely deserves
agree.
a watch.
But yeah, I mean, maybe people saw it and like, what the heck is this? So hopefully that did happen, and
Right.
people who didn't see it before, decided to check it out because it's certainly a good movie.
Now the next matchup was the upset of the first round. The
Yep.
Sandlot, the number 14 seed, defeated Ali in the number 3 seed. This was a shocker to me, but as we went along, I severely misunderstood the nostalgia behind the Sandlot. A lot of people were voting for the Sandlot. It was the underdog story of the tournament, I believe.
Totally. It didn't surprise me until a little bit later,
Right.
because I wasn't as shocked as you that it beat Ali, just because I think people kind of I don't know why people don't respect Ali as much, but there's just something about it that it didn't quite resonate as well as it maybe should have. But I knew that a lot of people had a nostalgia for the Sandlot.
Right. I personally have
You're
never seen The
killing me,
Sandlot, so maybe
Smalls. You're
so maybe
killing me,
that's why.
Smalls.
Yeah,
You haven't seen it?
I know that
Oh,
part. I've seen it.
oh,
I've
okay.
seen that part, but no, I haven't seen the movie.
I mean, people.
Um,
I see people in T-shirts.
right.
You're killing me, Smalls. So yeah, I mean, I certainly wasn't surprised.
um, so the next one was a 6-11 matchup. Creed at number 6 moved on over Cool Runnings. This was a tough one for me in nostalgia factor. I'm a big Cool
Absolutely,
Runnings fan, but I still
definitely,
voted for Creed because I feel like it's the better movie.
it is the better movie. But
Mm,
I like Dougie Doug. I miss Dougie
yeah.
Doug. Where is he at?
Number 7, He Got Game defeated number 10 Varsity Blues. That was a tough matchup. Um, a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
would
people like
say.
both
I would
those.
say
And then
the
number
the
2,
better film won that one though.
oh
The
yeah,
better film did
definitely.
win it.
And then number 2, Rudy defeated number 15 Mystery Alaska, and this was a tough one for me because Rudy is one of my all-time favorites. But I also, I'm a fan of Mystery Alaska since it's a
Right.
hockey movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I voted for Rudy. So.
You got to. There's no. There's
Oh
no.
man, Rudy, Rudy,
Yeah.
Rudy, Rudy. All right. The Kubrick region, our final region. We'll go for did we didn't do the second round, did we? Of the Hitchcock region.
No. No. You forget.
Second
Don't forget the
second
second
round
round.
of the Hitchcock region, we had Hoop Dreams defeating Tin Cup. I know you had a tough call on that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, there's no way I still voted for Hoop Dreams, even though I have a lot of heart for Tin Cup.
Yeah, Hoop Dreams is one of my favorites. It's probably the best documentary I've seen in general.
Yep.
Number 4, Moneyball beat Talladega Nights. And then here's where Sandlot keeps going. Sandlot beat Creed in the
Yeah.
second round.
Yep.
So that was another big shock to me. So
Absolutely.
this
But
underdog.
actually, it wasn't a shock to me. At this point, still wasn't
Right.
a shock.
Well, it's taking out boxing movies left and right.
Yep. Yep.
And then Rudy defeated He Got Game in the second round.
Which definitely not surprising. Definitely not.
Right. The Kubrick region, we had number 1, Field of Dreams versus 16, The Legend of Badger Vance. Legend of Badger Vance never had a chance.
No way.
Field of
Yeah.
Dreams came
Exactly.
through. Friday Night Lights defeated When We Were Kings. Again, I think I like Friday Night Lights a lot, but I also think that When We Were Kings, not a lot of people have seen. It's another documentary
Yes.
about Ali.
And a good one. And a good
Yeah,
one. But yeah, I think Friday Night Lights had enough gravity as a drama because it's based on real life, to sort of beat out that
right.
even in my eyes, as good as that documentary is, I kind of dig Friday Night Lights a lot better.
Number five, Dodgeball defeated Eight Men Out. If you're going by quality of movie, probably not
Yeah,
choice, but I think I voted for Dodgeball because I love that movie. It's so fun.
I know, but
Um,
but John Sayles did Eight Men Out, so it's tragic, tragic.
and then here is another big upset. Number 13, Goon defeated
Yep.
$1 Million Baby. This is right up my alley because I like Goon and you get this theme
Right.
going for hockey movies, but I did not like $1 Million Baby at all. Um,
Wow.
I did not like that movie, so I'm happy that Goon pulled off the upset, and maybe other people agreed with me that they didn't really
Must be.
like
Must
that
be.
movie.
I don't see it. I do. I like Goon a lot. It's not that I don't like Goon, but I think I think a whole lot about Million Dollar Baby. I think it's a really good movie. Certainly a great performance by Hilary Swank.
Another hockey movie moved on. Number three seed Slapshot beat Seabiscuit at 14. And then another hockey movie moved on. The Mighty Ducks upset Major League. I was kind of surprised by this one, but I think it's once again the nostalgia factor.
But there ought to be nostalgia for Major League. It's like they're both almost in the same era, right?
But like Mighty Ducks, though, like I said, it's kind of like the era. Like I think the people that were voting are kind of around our age, or maybe a little younger.
Hmm.
They grew up with Mighty Ducks, whereas Major League was an adult movie when they were kids, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
they don't that nostalgia factor. It doesn't resonate uh, so
But
so
it didn't
much.
stop me from seeing the adult movie. I saw
I know.
Major League.
I actually vote in this matchup. I actually voted for Major League personally
What?
because
Are you kidding?
I love the Mighty Ducks, but I know it's not a good movie. I, and
Okay. Okay.
and in fact,
And
I've started watching it.
Major League's not that good a movie either,
Yeah, that's
honestly.
true. But I actually started watching the Mighty Ducks series on Disney Plus. It's
I was gonna
weird.
say, I assume you would be.
They hooked
I
me
assume
in.
you would be.
Number seven, The Longest Yard. This is the original with Burt
Mhm.
Reynolds in the main role. He actually is in the second, the remake too, but not in the main role. But
Right.
they Longest Yard beat The Wrestler in the number 7 versus 10. The Wrestler, that's a pretty low seed for The Wrestler. Honestly, I was the
Yeah,
way it
I
shook
think
out. I think that's
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think people may have forgotten the wrestler a little bit
right.
over the years now, but who knows?
And then number 2, Hoosiers defeated number 15, Invincible. I like Invincible a lot, and but yeah, Hoosiers is a better movie.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Invincible was definitely not invincible, not going up against Hoosiers. So
And then the second round, we had Field of Dreams moving on over Friday Night Lights. Dodgeball ended Goon's run, but Mighty Ducks beat Slapshot. And I once again, I think Slapshot's a better movie, but I think the nostalgia factor for the youth had
yeah,
the Mighty Ducks move on.
I think you're
Uh,
right.
and then Hoosiers beat Longest Yard. So that gives
Sure,
us our
sure.
Sweet 16. Our Sweet 16
Yep.
is Field of Dreams, Dodgeball, Mighty Ducks, Hoosiers, Hoop Dreams, Moneyball, The Sandlot, Rudy, Rocky, Happy Gilmore, Remember the Titans, The Karate Kid, and Raging Bull, Bull Durham, and Caddyshack and League of Their Own.
Yeah, in that region, the Scorsese region, all the top seeds lined up to get there. So
Right. I think that was the only one that all
yeah,
all
I
four
think that
seeds
is the
went
only
through.
one without major upsets getting to the Sweet 16.
So let's talk about the Sweet 16. So in the Scorsese region, like we just mentioned, the top 4 seeds advanced, and uh, the Raging Bull moved on versus Bull Durham, the Battle of the Bulls. That
Yeah,
was
that
a
was a
tough
good.
one.
Yeah, that was serendipitous to
All
get that.
right. um, I just think I like Bull Durham, but Raging Bull is a better overall film in my opinion. So that's why I voted for
Yeah,
Raging Bull.
it's like it becomes a choice of enjoyable versus
Right.
uh, you know more skilled film.
Right.
And so Raging Bull's certainly the better film. Bull Durham happens to be more enjoyable.
And then Caddyshack, slightly, slight upset over A League of Their Own. Um,
Yeah, this is as fun as Caddyshack is. It's certainly not as good a film as League of Their
right.
Own, in my opinion. But it is
I
what it
agree.
is.
Sometimes you just like a movie, it doesn't
Right.
have to be a good movie necessarily, or
Absolutely.
good,
Absolutely.
good in quotes.
Hmm.
Um, and then so in the Spielberg region, we had Rocky advancing over Happy Gilmore,
No surprise.
And this was a big upset for me. Karate Kid over Remember the Titans.
And yeah, so you get to you get Karate Kid into the Elite Eight over Remember the Titans, a 3 seed. That is a big upset in theory, and also when we talk about the fact that Remember the Titans was shot in Georgia, so a
Hmm.
lot of people have a connection to it. Certainly in the the Georgia voters, but I'm not surprised. Karate Kid has that nostalgia, and like you mentioned, Cobra Kai is shooting in Georgia now, so people maybe connect it
Right.
in that regard. So not that big a surprise. So kind of cool in my opinion. But Remember Titans, fine film. But I'm not, I was not disappointed in Karate Kid advancing.
Um, Continuing on, and now we're in the Hitchcock region. The first number one seed falls. Moneyball defeats Hoop Dreams. This was a bit of a shock to me.
Yeah,
Like I said,
yeah,
Hoop Dreams is one of the best documentaries ever. And
right,
I didn't think Moneyball had that much love for it, honestly.
sure,
It's a good movie, no doubt, but
right,
it's
right.
kind of a sports, like you have to be a sports fan to like that movie, kind of. You know what I
Yeah, it's
mean? Like
so
it's not
inside
general
baseball. It's
audience.
so
Yeah,
inside baseball. Not to be too cute with the phrase,
right.
but yeah, yeah. But again, I think this is where some people may still not be familiar with Hoop Dreams. You know what I mean?
That's
Because some
true.
people just don't
Hmm.
don't watch documentaries, and
That's
so
true.
they do watch Brad Pitt. So
Yeah, the documentaries did not fare that well
right,
in the whole overall scheme of things.
right. But
Um,
but now you're talking about now that brings us to the actual real super
this is the
upset.
super big upset. The
Yeah.
Sandlot defeated Rudy, 14 versus
Oh,
2 seed.
and
Rudy
this is
is probably my all-time favorite sports movie.
yes, totally.
So when it lost to the Sandlot, I'm like, maybe I need to watch the Sandlot.
You absolutely need to watch The Sandlot, but that's not the point. This is still a travesty. This is still horrible because Rudy should not lose to The Sandlot. You know what I mean? I mean, Rudy, after Hoop Dreams gets knocked out, Rudy
I
should
know.
go to the Final Four.
Rudy had a path to the Final Four, and
Absolutely, and
man,
it could have challenged anyone, honestly, in my opinion,
right?
further in the tournament. So this was the real shock to me. And again, it's got to be nostalgia. But that being said, it was terrible. It was terrible. But that's not to say you shouldn't watch The Sandlot. You definitely should watch The Sandlot.
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Kubrick region, our final um, of the Sweet 16. We had Field of Dreams defeating Dodgeball. As much as I like Dodgeball, totally get that. And then the Mighty Ducks upset Hoosiers, which
this is like becoming a trend. The strong 2 seeds
right,
in both the Hitchcock and Cubic regions were just soundly defeated by big underdogs, and this shocked me too because Hoosiers to me is a beloved film by many, and in my opinion, is not quite as beloved as Rudy, but it's
right.
close. And for Mighty Ducks to pull it out, I mean that was surprising for sure.
All right. Well, now we have our Elite Eight, which is Field of Dreams, Mighty Ducks, Moneyball, The Sandlot, Rocky, Karate Kid, and Raging Bull and Caddyshack.
Yeah,
So
yep.
let's go into the Elite Eight matchups in the Scorsese region. The Scorsese region, that's a tongue twister. Scorsese region. Um,
Yep, yep.
Raging Bull, the number one seed, defeated Caddyshack.
With the home
Um,
field advantage, obviously,
right,
in the
right.
Scorsese region. But this is obviously not a surprise. Finally, Caddyshack ends its run of nostalgia, even though it was a high seed. It was a 3 seed, so
Right.
shouldn't have been that surprising that it lasted this long. But
And
I,
just for a little inside interest, if you we ranked them 1 to 64, Raging Bull was actually the number one overall seed.
sure,
That's how they
sure.
got the home court advantage playing in the Scorsese region.
Yeah, not surprising. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So yeah, so they moved on. I didn't think that one was particularly close, if I recall correctly. Um, The next matchup in the Spielberg region was Rocky versus Karate Kid, and this one was actually surprisingly close, but Rocky pulled it out. This is the number one seed.
It's not too difficult to see why, because these are essentially the same movie
Right.
in a lot of respects. And then again, like you mentioned, Rocky's a little bit older, so the younger vote is probably with Karate Kid. So I'm not surprised it was close, but I'm glad Rocky did prevail because as much as I love Karate Kid, and I definitely do, Rocky's certainly the better movie in if only because it did what Karate Kid did first. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. And then the Hitchcock region had the most intriguing Elite Eight matchup with Moneyball
Yeah.
versus The Sandlot. These are two films I did not see making it this far in this region.
No,
And
definitely not.
Moneyball finally ended The Sandlot's run. This
And
was
by this
actually
time,
kind
I
of a
was actually
surprise.
surprised.
I was surprised
Yeah, I
too.
was
I really thought
by this
Sandlot
time.
was going to
Yeah,
go through. Um,
exactly. It's like like you said, I didn't expect Moneyball to actually, defeat Hoop Dreams, and my nephew didn't even. He complained to me that Moneyball beat Talladega Nights. So you know what I mean. so,
right.
so this was a surprise, and then the fact that the Sandlot had such a strong showing, I thought the Sandlot would make it all the way, but Moneyball finally ended its run. So interesting.
And then the final Elite Eight matchup was Field of Dreams versus Mighty Ducks. And once again, the underdog falls to the number one seed, Field of Dreams. Easily moved on over Mighty Ducks, probably appropriately.
Definitely appropriately. Thank goodness, because this would have been worse than the Rudy losing to
It,
Sandlot.
I mean, if Mighty Ducks would have gotten to the Final Four, I think people would have said this was rigged by me. But hey, I
Exactly.
didn't even vote for them in the first round, so don't
I
bother.
know that's what's funny is like somehow you get tarred with the Mighty Ducks because you like the movie so much, but it's not your fault that people voted for it so many
Right?
times.
Maybe I talk about it too much. Maybe that's why.
Could be.
All right, so our final four is set. We've got Raging Bull, Field of Dreams, Rocky, and the lone non-number one seed Moneyball. The
Yep.
way we broke out the regions, the Scorsese, God, I can't. That's such a tongue twister. The Scorsese region winner faced the Kubrick region winner, which was Raging Bull battling Field of Dreams, and
Yep.
then the Spielberg winner faced Hitchcock winner, and that's Rocky versus Moneyball.
Yep. Yep.
So these are some good matchups. I think we all expected Rocky to go through over Moneyball, but you know what? It was closer than I would have ever imagined.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, so apparently, our voters really do dig Moneyball. It's a
You
good
got
movie.
it.
I'm not gonna
It is a
deny
good
that. It
movie.
just
A
is
lot of
surprising to me.
inside a
Yeah,
lot of inside baseball fans apparently.
I guess so. I mean, I guess the people voting in this were real sports fans voting for movies, not just the people that like
Definitely.
movies that happen to have sports in them, right?
Right. Right. Definitely.
Um, and then the other matchup, Raging Bull versus Field of Dreams. This was a close one. This was a nail biter, and Field of Dreams actually beat the number one overall seed to advance to the finals. And
What's funny about this is that if you notice, both Final Four matchups were boxing versus baseball, and baseball lost in one to boxing, and then baseball prevailed in the other over boxing. So interesting to note that. I thought maybe that's why Moneyball and Rocky were so close, but at the same time, Field of Dreams and Raging Bull were so close. But again, that's probably more so just because both movies were strong seeds for sure.
I think it has a lot to do with the nature of the movies, the mood of the movies, right? So,
Yes.
Field of Dreams is a lot more light than Raging Bull, and
Well,
likewise
certainly feel
Rocky.
good.
Feel good,
Excellent.
yeah. It's more
Yeah,
feel good, and then Rocky's more feel good than Moneyball.
absolutely.
Um, so I think that has a lot to do with it too, and that's kind of what you want in a sports movie. You want that feel good story, and that's kind of maybe why things like the Karate Kid and Mighty
Yes.
Ducks and Sandlot. It's like the underdogs
Yes.
stories really
Absolutely.
capture people's attention.
Yeah,
And
they resonate. They resonate with people. So I agree. I think in the end, that's what sort of pulls them through. in terms of this type of competition is the fact that they're uplifting for an underdog. You know what I mean? Or uplifting in general in the case of Field of Dreams.
Right. So then now we have our championship matchup, which is Field of Dreams versus Rocky. And this is a tough one.
Super tough.
And eventually it was Rocky. It was declared the winner. And I got the final vote numbers here. To go back to this, it was 57% to 43%.
Wow, very close.
Very close matchup, and deservedly so. Like, I mean, these are both really good movies.
Absolutely.
And I personally voted for Rocky in this one. And I think it's like the prototypical underdog film, and I think that's like we just talked about. I think that's what really resonates with people when they watch sports movies. They want to see the underdog succeed, right?
Yeah, I think I'm honestly trying to remember. I think I voted for Field of Dreams in this one. And I think it was so close that I don't even remember. I may have voted for Rocky, but I do think I did vote for Field of Dreams. And it's only because Field of Dreams just gives me a warm feeling inside. And I think it's the baseball. Again, boxing versus baseball. And I kind of resonate with the baseball a little bit more because I've never been a boxer. I have played baseball,
right.
And so just sort of, especially that the James Earl Jones monologue toward the end really, really gets to you.
People
about baseball marking the time. You know what I mean? So that is why I resonate a little bit more with Field of Dreams. But Rocky's a fantastic film, so I wasn't surprised, and it doesn't disappoint me at all because Rocky's still a wonderful movie.
So there you have it. Based off of your votes. Yeah. Rocky is the best sports movie of all time.
Yeah, and thanks for your votes, by the way. Thanks everybody for
thank you so much. Yeah, we had a lot of participation as it went on. We had more and more people start voting, so that was really cool to see. And I think it was really successful, and I think it was really fun to do, and I think we enjoyed it so much that we might do it again with a different theme.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
definitely.
I mean, some of the things I've been brainstorming is like superhero movies or maybe Oscar winners.
Ooh, see, that'd be great, an Oscar tournament.
Right.
That might be really cool.
So let us know what you think we should do next. We probably won't do it right away because this actually does takes a lot of effort. I'm
going
to post to Instagram, create these images and post to Instagram every day.
And then we had to delay our schedule because it didn't quite hit in time for us to cover it on a regular programming week. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, it was a lot of fun though. I'm glad so many people got into it and voted, and it was nice. It was nice to have this. So definitely let us know what you thought of it and some ideas that you guys have, because we'd love to hear from you.
Well, all right. Thanks again. This pretty much wraps it up for this week. Just want to remind you guys, if you haven't followed the Instagram account, please do so. It's at Cinema ATL Podcast, all one word. And while we're not doing this, we're doing other fun stuff like Movie Quote Mondays, Freeze Frame Fridays, other fun stuff between the podcasts that we released every week. And then we'll be back next week at a regular podcast time for a April Fool's edition.
Absolutely.
Because we'll be releasing on April 1st. And then once again, thank you, Eureka Failure, for providing the music as they do each and every week. And please share this podcast with your friends and tell them about the tournament. And maybe next time we'll get even more people participating. Before we wrap up, Martin, what's your final thoughts before we go?
Well, I just want to leave everybody with this. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted.
Wow. That is profound. I have nothing to say to that.
And congratulations to Rocky.
Yeah, congratulations.
I think that embodies sort of the underdog spirit, and so it's certainly a great movie to win. And I'm happy that it did win, and I'm happy that people resonate with that type of story. So, congratulations, Rocky.
Adrian. All right, guys. See you next week.